Hey everybody, just a quick message from Bald and Bonkers Network. We would like to remind everybody that certain topics of discussion may not be comfortable for all listeners. Certain viewpoints may not reflect those of our partners, sponsors, affiliates, our hosts, or that of our guests. We would like to encourage everybody to keep a respectful and open climate of discussion for all topics, no matter how disturbing they may be. So viewer discretion is advised.
It does not matter where you stand, nor what it is you feel is grand. Magic is all around. Magic is never gone, and it is more than you will ever know. Entrust us, entrust her, for here you will find that the lost of magics have never disappeared.
Hello everybody, this is Sherry and welcome to The Lost Magics. And tonight it is Saturday. Normally it's on a Friday, but lovely Emma here is only been able to come on Saturday. So tonight, as you can see, we've got Emma Louise Tully on from Sharon Rectory, and we're going to have a really interesting talk with her about her investigations and about the very amazing haunted house that she lives in. So we hope that you do enjoy the show, guys, and a big shout out to everybody that is watching us and supporting us. Please go over to Emma's Facebook pages, Instagram. All of the links are to the bottom of this show, so you can support her and support her amazing books she's wrote as well, guys. Please check that out on Amazon. So hello, Emma.
Hello. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm good. You know,
I'm really happy to have you with me. I've been waiting to be able to get you on a show with me, so that's really awesome. So with me, I'm just basically get straight into it, girl, and just go.
Yeah, of course.
So
go
we're going to do that really quick. Okay.
No
so first, Emma obviously is the owner of Sharon Rectory, which is an amazing building that was took on by her parents.
Yeah, no, well, they're still the owners. They're the owners.
And Emma's the daughter, yeah. So they're the owners of this place, and Emma helps to run the place with them. And this house is very haunted, guys. Lots of activity, lots of things going on. If you've watched previous shows, you have seen on a number of occasions little visitors that like to come up behind Emma and walk round and do their little things. And also she is an investigator and got a team as well, which is Soul to Soul Paranormal, guys. So please go check her out on Facebook and YouTube and stuff. She definitely needs to have some more supporters on there. She's really good at what she does. So Emma,
thank you.
First, what I would like to talk to you about is, when did you first actually start experiencing anything of the paranormal phenomena? When did you start experiencing?
Oh, my first experiences whenever my mum and dad obviously bought Sharon Rectory and they restored it and we moved in and lived in it. And just shortly after moving in, we started to experience some unexplainable things. Now, my mum and dad, my mum more so was local to the area, so she would have always heard the stories of Sharon Rectory being haunted and all. But both my parents are were very skeptical at the time, so they didn't really believe kind of anything. Now, even though they had an experience actually years before buying the property, it didn't put them off, but it was kind of one of them things where it happened and it was like a one-off kind of happening, and they probably just thought at the end up maybe it was just
my
one wee thing. Yeah, and you know, they just fell in love with the house and they bought it and restored it, and we've been here ever since. You know,
it is a very beautiful house.
Oh, good. It is
very, very beautiful.
I absolutely love the house. I love the whole area. It is a beautiful place. It's just, it comes with, you know, extras. But I think
lodges, guys, as they you know.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like, you know, the good spirits of Sharon, like they were there before us. We have to respect them. It's a nasty piece of work that be kind of in around the house that you kind of just be like, oh, do you know, where do you even go from there? But it's just really, really complicated to kind of go into it because we're still figuring out a lot of stuff, and we're finding out more stuff, and it's just kind of always revealing more and more. So, yeah, it's just one of those houses that's just on a lot
hard to be in that sort of situation as well, because sometimes it's very difficult to know who you can trust as well, because some teams and some people will come in and say they know things and they don't, and you know, makes things work. You know, this is a very difficult community to be in as it is, and when it's somebody that's actually experiencing everyday activity with paranormal in their homes, even more so, you know.
Yeah,
we think that it's hard work, like being investigators, but imagine being the owners of that place and going through that every day. And I've come across quite a few people that have gone through similar things to what you do, Emma, and it can be very time consuming, very draining.
Yeah.
You know, they said the same as you. I've got lovely spirits around me, but there is just these negative ones, and they really play with me. Like
they really do. They really do. Yeah. As I say, like growing up in this, you know, I didn't know any of the stories whenever I was younger of the house being haunted and all, and obviously I didn't know any of the history, you know, with it, what was linked to murders and everything in the house, like so. It was obviously this is a hot cause and a hotbed of activity from all of the bad things that kind of happened on the property. But whenever, you know, when we'd lived in the house and started to understand what was kind of going on, and you know, we met Kate Houston, the psychic medium that got in touch with us over 20 years ago, and she's been friends with us ever since and kind of our go-to woman. And if it wasn't for her, we probably wouldn't really kind of know what was going on.
She's an amazing lady.
She is an amazing.
I've met her several times on your shows, and then she's a very good medium, very good.
She is. She's very spot on with a lot of things that she was picking up, and you know, she kind of was able to kind of validate kind of our, you know, what we were experiencing, and kind of help us understand.
I remember a conversation with like me, you, and her, and I think we had like Chris and that, where I'd picked up on some of the stuff she'd picked up on.
Yes, that's right. That must have been last year, so it was probably last year, I think it was. Yeah, there was definitely, you know, as even since last year, since I last spoke to you, you know, there's more and more things we're finding out about the house, and it is like you're trying to it's like a big puzzle board, and you're trying to piece the wee bits together of who this could be, what's causing this, what's behind this, what's the meaning of this. You know, you're constantly always trying to understand. And
not just with that, like obviously you've got your house here, and you've got all of this activity going on. What you've got to consider and stuff as well is like how old the actual land is before the house was there. You know, there are so many people that would have lived in these lands, even if they didn't have houses and things. So you've got the up-to-date period, you've got maybe Victorian, Elizabethan times, then you've got even before that, you know, like the Ice Age, and there's just so much energy and residual energy that stays around that your place is a very active place. Like when I look at your house, and when I look and hear what you say, like when you're on your shows and what I've picked up and stuff, like I very much see your house as a go-to place for spirits. I really do.
It is a train station.
It's like something where they come in, out, and you know, and for some reason, some of them want to just stay,
just hang about
with you. Like
it is so true, Sherry, because there's been times that we've had spirits pass through this house that we've only seen once or twice and never seen again. So it's like, where did they go? Where did they come from? You know, to like my mum witnessing like a young man spirit in the kitchen and then never seen it again. You know, things like that. It's like you know, it's like a big portal for it all.
Like you've heard of portals and stuff like that, but I think that your place is more than just a portal. Your place is like a vortex. Okay, it's a place where they come in, they go out. They'll use that to come into the planet. They'll use that to come out of the planet. You know what I mean? That's why some of them you'll see maybe once in a blue moon, and some of them you see regularly. It really does just depend on them.
Actually, do you want to hear something really interesting? Just actually about that. It was a couple of nights ago. I had this really vivid dream. Now, I mean, it was the weirdest dream I've had in a very long time, and I have weird dreams. This was in the courtyard in Sharon. There's many outhouses, and the outhouse is kind of closest to the coachman's residence. It's like a little dark room, well, I wouldn't say little, it's a quite long room, but it's so dark in there. And in this dream, I walked into that room And halfway through the room, I kind of crossed into like another dimension, but I was still in Sharon Rectory, but it was just like a different kind of, everything kind of looked slightly different. So whenever I walked through this portal,
you went back to an old era.
And I was still in the outhouse, that part of the outhouse, but when I walked into the courtyard, it was snowing. And in the courtyard was these two giants. And I mean, they were scary giants, like, 'cause they had like this big white beard. It was like nearly like Father Christmas had this big white beard, and one of them was good and one of them was evil. And the good guy kind of came over to me and he was like, you need to leave, you need to go, because he's going to kill you. And the other guy was coming over to me, and I ran back into the room again. I came through and back into my own timeline. It was like I jumped into a different kind of dimension, but it was like, Stranger Things, like the Upside Down. It was like the same area but slightly different. So that was really very much
like a vision.
It was really weird, and
they visited you, like he's warning you about something.
It's really weird, because I was discussing it with my mum after, and I was saying to my mum, I swear that these guys, these big giants that I'm seeing, that to me it was like they were protectors of the actual area, and I don't know. I'm still trying to make sense of it all, but it was so vivid, Cheryl. It was so vivid. Like, it was like I was actually there. And when I woke up, usually, you would kind of only remember certain parts of it.
That's because you probably was there, Emma, because I have like similar things happen to me, because obviously where I'm spiritually open and that, I go to places, I could be, because I leave my body as well. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, this is very much what it sounds like you've done. Mm-hmm. Your spiritual body's left and gone through this vortex, this doorway, and you've gone into a time back then. Because back in the day, there were giants. There were people that were huge and things like that. All these things that you believe that are mystical and not real, they are. Okay? Yeah, and giants do exist, and there are evidence of giants existing in the past. You know what I mean? So, to me, it sounds like they took you there for a reason. They're telling you about the place. They're giving you warnings. Because you're not feeling very well and stuff at the minute as well. So
it was just so strange, because I woke up and I was like, what is that about? And it was been about 2 weeks ago too. I also had a dream where I astral traveled to, like, there is a house called Coheen House. It's about maybe an hour and a half away from Sharon Rectory, but it's another house that's extremely haunted. There's supposed to have been a serious amount of poltergeist activity around it, and the family that lives there. No, I've never been there. This is the thing. I actually was read about it after the dream and all, and in the dream I went there to the time period where the family was living there when they were being terrorized by this poltergeist, and I actually seen firsthand what that spirit was doing to them. And I came out of the dream and I was like, I've never been there. I was able to see, know exactly the way the loft was set out. There was like 3 beds in the loft and these 2 windows. And I remember sitting on one of the beds, and the bed actually levitating and shaking, and the bed sheets moving.
Do you have abilities?
Oh yeah, I would myself. Like, I would notice more so since I started doing investigations, and since we kind of opened the Sharon Rectory to paranormal teams. Like, I always was seeing spirits whenever I was younger and all, but only really I started to tap into it all whenever I started doing investigations. So that's when, you kind of, when you accept it and you kind of go down that path, you become more open. So as I get further into the paranormal and kind of study it more, I become more open. So these dreams are all obviously meaning something, but that's 2 times I've
like visions and premonitions. They are communication with you. That is what they're doing, And I believe that maybe they reached out to you in that house because maybe they want you to go there, Emma.
Oh, I have to go. I will go now.
That's why. Because I get this a lot. There's been places that I've never been to, and I've had spirits like my church down here, for instance. When I first ever done that, I'd never set foot in there, and I'd never intend to, but I then was having a dream about this church, and through doing that and going up there, I've struck some very good friendships with some of the spirits up there, and while being up there, I came into communication with the young ladies. That body was dumped in that churchyard, and she was left and found by the police and that, and I made communication with her, and I was able to help her go over. so that they were reaching out to me because they needed help, and they will do this. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but spirits are very forward, and they know everything about everybody. They know how to get to you, they know how to reach out to you and things like that. So you know, there's no way that girl knew me, but somehow was able to communicate with me. That's due to our abilities. It's our light, what we give off. You know, even just walking past something, and they're like, "Ooh, like, should be good for that." Or
it's like somebody told me once, it's like having a big M sign above your head. You know, so they just are able to kind of.
They're like magnets. Like, it's a magnet. We're magnets.
Tell me and then they're just there then.
And it's bizarre.
Yeah, it's just really weird because I never would have really felt like I would have woke up from a dream and said, you know, I astral traveled there or I went to another dimension, because I never would have kind of had that feeling before. But this has happened to me, I'd say a total of 3 times now, where I can turn around and say that I have stepped into another dimension, or I have actually been into another dimension or another time period or something. It's really, really crazy.
Do that when you're a medium, or like I don't like to class myself as a medium because I don't.
Neither do I, because I'm sensitive.
I don't have the tendencies to that extent, but I can see, I can feel, and I can communicate. Just not like what Kate can and things. You know what I mean? It's little words and things like that. But I've had experiences and stuff where strange happenings go on, and like you're going into places and you find that when you're spiritually open and you're able to communicate with them, even when you're walking into a building, you're walking and you're not walking into what you've just seen, you're walking into something completely different. There's staircases there that are not there no more. There are fireplaces in places that ain't there no more. Like, it is very bizarre, but at the same time, it's absolutely amazing to be able to see that through their eyes. Like,
it is. It really is. Like it is a gift. And I know a lot of people probably think, why would you want to experience that, or why would you want to?
When I first was growing up, because it used to scare the hell out of me when I was little. But
of course, it's the same with me.
You had to adjust to it because they weren't leaving me alone. They weren't going nowhere.
No, and I know there is a lot of people that's probably said, you know, that they've had these experiences when they were younger and then, you know, never had any since. I'd say it's a lot of people, it's like the brain kind of switches that part of, you know, that experience off just because you are so scared of it. So I think either you need to embrace it or shut it down. And a lot of people probably experience it.
I don't know why.
A lot of people
I was petrified of it. Because I would get them banging the doors, slamming the doors, like, and turning up in my bedroom out of nowhere. I was seeing, there was one guy that used to scare the hell out of me because he had half of his face missing. And, you know, being a 7-8-year-old little girl, like, seeing that, I used to scare the hell out of me. I didn't even like going out on my landing or anything. But
there was probably a part of you.
Certain people in my family, and they started communicating.
That's scared of it, or you can't walk away.
Yeah, and they were like, Sherry, don't be scared of them. They're like you, and they just need help. And that's when I started to open, and I started to be like, okay, I accept you, and what do you need help with? And now I'm just addicted. I actually can't get enough of them. I don't see them with their disfigurements or anything anymore. I see them as normal people, but...
It is. It can be very frightening now to kind of, when you're younger and you don't know, like I didn't understand a lot.
No.
It was only whenever I kind of started to get up a bit that I knew what was going on and understood it all. Like, and I, whenever my boys were a little bit younger too, like, and they were saying that they were experiencing things or seeing something to me, like I wouldn't have tried to, I would have done what my parents done to me. Like, you know, it would be like nothing would be ever there to hurt you or nothing would be ever there. But my two now are that switched on. They know exactly what's going on. And my youngest boy actually turned around and says to me one day, Mommy, can I go ghost hunting with you? You know, so
my
he
boy
knows.
Is the same.
He knows like exactly about it all now. Like, so you can't keep it from them forever because, you know, they have wee friends that kind of, you know about things too, and they would probably approach them and say about my house. Like, so they obviously are going to.
My son's spiritually open, and like my situation's a little bit different to you because of things I went through. So I don't have my kids with me, but I do see them, and I've had experiences where I've been with him and that, and he's gone, Mum, I'm seeing these people that just like keep turning up, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like real people? He's like, no, like nobody else sees them, and I'm like, looked at him and I just smiled, and I went, you're like your mummy, you're like your mum. And he's like, what? I said, you're seeing the other side, darling. And he was coming out with all this stuff that he wouldn't know, because I've never sat down and spoken. He's really looked into it, and he's like 14 years old now. Like, he'll be 15 next year. And he's like, Mum, when like I'm old enough and you're happy, can I come out with you? I find this really cool. And he's like me. He's spiritually open.
And
not as
educating them in the most healthy way too, to try and, like, you know, so they're not scared of
it.
Yes, there's things to be scared of, but to be able to protect yourself and to be able to teach them how to protect themselves spiritually and things like that.
And I spoke to him about that, because obviously it did concern me that he was having those experiences, and because obviously from where I'd been young and my experiences, I didn't want him going through the same thing. So I gave him certain necklaces and certain things to help him to adjust to that. I told him, like, do your prayers and stuff. Like, you can tell them that you don't want to be disturbed. If you don't want them disturbing you, you're allowed to tell them, but do it respectfully. You know, I've learned him all the things he needs to know, and he seems to do really well. But,
no,
you know,
I know
if you're spiritual, you pass it on to your kids.
See, this is it.
You do.
This is it, yeah. So they both have said to me about seeing things, seeing scary things too. But as I say, like, at the time, you're trying to, like, explain to them that, you know, not to be scared of, and it's just like the one actually that really frightened me the most was when Jonah, my youngest boy, actually seen something that was about 3 years ago, and it was dark. It was actually about a week before Halloween, and it was at the time we were having the investigations in Sharon, and that was kind of coming up to the very last investigation we had, and that would have been November 2019. And on the lead up to that, there was a lot of activity around the house, and I do believe that, you know, when you investigate a property over and over and over again, that is adding to that activity. So you're constantly kind of just getting kind of, whenever you might have a quiet night, you're thinking, oh, there's nothing here, you know, tonight or whatever. As soon as that team leaves, it's like all hell breaks loose. So it was getting to a point where we were just like, we can't do it anymore. You can't live in this area and constantly investigate it. It's unhealthy. So, and the run up to this, these investigations, my son actually says to me, we were sitting in the living room and it's dark outside, and we're in the countryside. There's no, like, you know, lights outside and any light source at all. It was only whatever the moon shines, and where our house is, like, covered in trees around it. And whenever Jonah looked outside, he seen something looking in the window, and he goes, "Who's that outside?" I was like, I'm scared to even look out the window to see what he sees. So I looked out, there was nobody there. And I was like, oh, there's nobody there, Jonah. And he goes, no, there is. He goes, there's somebody outside. Because he was jumping kind of from the sofa to, like, the wee stool that we have. And he was kind of going back and forth. And I knew he caught eyes on something, because he, like, stopped really sudden and was just fixed on this. And he says that, no, it's got sharp teeth and big claws, and it's scratching the window. It's doing this to the window. And I was terrified to look out after that, but I was like, oh, it's one of Nanny's Halloween decorations. That's what I said to him, because it was the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, maybe it blew in the window and it just kind of hit the window on the way past. That was the only way that I could try and describe it in that panic moment. And it took a while for him to get to sleep at night after, you know, because it must have obviously been, he must have been
terrorizing.
And it kind of must have just been in his wee head, like, and I would have had to lay down beside him at night then, which I've never really would have had to do before, because he would have went, you know, to sleep himself. But after that, he kind of wanted me to stay in the room with him. I think he was a wee bit freaked by that. But that was kind of the worst that he had described. It was funny. Well, it's not funny, but about 2 weeks before that, or about a week before that, my sister actually had a dream where she described just down where the well is in Sharon. It's like a big area, a big field, and it's very, very swampy. And in this dream, she says this creature came up out of the swamp. It's just beside the well. And it was like it was coming for her. And she was actually able to wake up and draw of what she's seen. And what she actually saw was like something that had like sharp teeth, big claws. It had like scaly skin, and it had like big hair. And she said it was wearing some kind of like nude kind of swimming kind of costume thing. But she said it was like coming towards her. It's like it's very swampy ground. I would just call it a swamp. It's just very swampy ground. And it's actually where the well is to the house. And there is a lot actually coming out about this well recently, with it linking to Witch's Coven. Now,
maybe you could have, I know this might sound weird, like, but if you've got like all this paranormal activity and stuff, I don't know what you think about ufology and stuff like that, but you've heard of like, there's meant to be creatures in certain sewers and stuff, like big, full-blown human.
I don't know.
But
This
not
was
human.
in the dream. This was in the dream that she was able to see.
That's what I'm saying. But to see it coming out of somewhere swampy, it's
it was like
swampy
ground. It kind of came up, and she says it was like a thing that was kind of looking for souls. She says this is what she got from the dream, but she was running away from it, and it was trying to grab her. And then whenever she drew this picture, and Jonah described this thing, it was identical to what he saw looking in our window, in our living room window. The same kind of way he described it was what Victoria drew. And around that same time, I had a dream where I was just down our back lane, and we've, again, loads of trees. It's just in the front of my house. And in the dream, for a glimpse, I seen like this thing kind of peep behind one of the trees, and it wrapped its two hands around, and it was like it had like big long fingers with claws, but I couldn't see its face, and I only kind of assumed it was that
an alien form.
It was weird. I don't know, like I wouldn't really kind of know much about aliens and that side of stuff, but this was weird. Like it was something like a creature of some sort. And
you know, like you'd put it in either like alien or crypto, like some weird creature that's not known sort of thing that you wouldn't expect to see sort of thing. Because there's a lot of stories all around the world about these weird creatures that live in the sewers, and some of them seek souls and do this, do that. You've got lizard people, apparently. You've got all these things that are meant to go on.
Yeah, I don't really know now if it is any of that, but I'm just saying, as it must be Dakota was saying about the ghost dog, it could be related to this the black dog that's seen actually on the property. It could well be like a shapeshifter of some sort.
Yeah.
And it could be maybe linking to that. And I'm actually, since I'd say probably maybe 2019, 18, I've kind of felt that there was an elemental on this property. And I don't know maybe if this is all linking into this one thing, and it's like,
well, that's what I said to you about the giants. That's what I was going to go on to. I was going to go like these giants could be associated with elementals, because the elementals are very big creatures. I work with an elemental. Her name's Aurora. She protects me and that, so I know what she's like, and I know how they can work. And they know the grounds, they know the things that would be on here, so they would warn you. Maybe they would not show you in a true form of what they are, because some of them can look really scary, but they will show you in another form. So they could have showed you in a giant form, because they are big.
So
but
like,
it sounds like they're trying to give you a message, they're trying to warn you about. That's what I'm getting. And
I do think that's thing that it's a negative thing, because every kind of experience with this thing has been negative. But it was actually one of the nights, I think it was the very last night of the investigations that we had here. I was out in one of the outhouses. I had like the wine bottles with candles in it, just to kind of light, for when we move out into that area. And just during a break, we had the team in the kitchen, and there was about 6 of the public there that was that night, and we were just getting a cup of tea and just a wee break from the investigation. So I went outside to light the candles in one of the outhouses, and as I walked out to the courtyard, again pitch dark, but in kind of one of the corner outhouses in one of the rooms down below, I seen like this thing glowing with big eyes, but it didn't look like animals' eyes. It was like white eyes, and it was glowing, and I could see it blinking. And I kind of went in, and I thought, no, I'm just not going to even look there. And I went in to try and light the candles, and I heard something moving. Well, I ran back into the house, and I said to my mum and Victoria, you're going to have to come out with me here, because there's something in that shed out there, like, or that outhouse out there. I was like, I'm not too sure in it. So when we were out, we were very on edge. But whenever we all moved out then with the team and the public and all, we had one of the mirrors outside in this particular room where the candles was, and they were doing a bit of scrying on the mirror. And there was one lady actually took a picture looking in the mirror, and just on the wall behind her, the way the outhouses is, there's no like floor for the second level, so it's just one big kind of open space. But the wall behind kind of had the wall stopped where the second level would be. But in the picture, if you look in the mirror and zoom in, you can see what looks to be like something with like big sharp teeth and like claw like hands looking over the wall. And she caught it, and if you really zoom in, you might think, okay, maybe Matrix and stuff, but it would be a complete coincidence, because if you put it against the same photo that Victoria has, it is nearly the exact same thing from what she drew to what was in that picture. And I don't know, it was just, I do think that was probably the thing that I seen.
It had white eyes.
It had white
there
eyes.
was no pupils, no nothing. Just
pure
white.
glowing white eyes. And
like,
it was,
because some of them, like some elementals will have glowing eyes, but they wouldn't show like a lizard.
This is not, I don't, if it's an elemental, and
it's not
these
an elemental.
This is not it. This would be, that's why I'm thinking, would this be more associated with this black dog that's seen around the property?
It could be associated with the black dog, but I'm feeling more, I'm a crypto creature. Because like the white eyes and the
it's very,
the way it looks, the sharp teeth, things like that. Like it could very well be the dog, like shape shifting into a humanoid shape. But it could be something else as well. You know, there
it's just really like there's so many layers to this property, and it's just trying to. When you think you've got it kind of figured out, something else happens, and you're like, it throws you off of what the idea that you had in your head.
Your place is a constant reminder of history all the way back. So it doesn't matter how many times you think that you're going to get to a point where you've reached your level, something else is just going to drop in.
Yeah, and as you say,
it's going to be.
As you say, it's the land too, so it's even before the house was even built. And it's funny because, like I'm currently kind of going through where we're doing a bit of renovation in the house. Actually, I'm actually doing that bit of renovation myself. But I in my book, I talk about when my mum and dad were renovating the house, they actually unearthed a skull of an animal in one of the main rooms, one of the big rooms in the house. And whenever I looked into a bit of, the Irish folklore and research into that, what the superstitions and stuff they would have done would have been burying like a horse's parts of a horse's skull or a sheep's skull underneath kind of one of either the main rooms in the house or one of the doorways or under a fireplace to warn off evil spirits and bring good luck. Yeah. And the time that they were renovating, like my mum and my dad, my grandfather done a lot of the renovation work. They didn't know anything to do with spirits and rituals and kind of wee things and folklore. So they removed it off the property. And I do think that probably caused a lot of activity. Like, that obviously would have.
If that was put there, because like normally
it's put there for a reason.
If people do that, that's normally because there was things going on in that house at that time as well. I don't believe that your activity is going on just with you. I believe that anybody that's ever been in that house has had some sort of activity. Obviously, like you said, your mum and dad were innocent. They didn't understand about all this law stuff. So when they've removed that, they've not realised they've removed the protection of that house. So now whatever because they've removed it, whatever is around is now able to get in your house again. Sort of thing.
Because I'm thinking that, during like my renovation work and stuff, I might actually try and maybe do something like that again to see if I can maybe protect that kind of part of the house again or that area.
A horse.
Well, not horses, but like something kind of to represent some kind of thing to, warn off evil or warn off evil spirits from coming in. So I'm in the process of trying to, figure out what to do. And obviously I'm going to be I want to bury like holy medals and, St. Michael's medals and stuff.
Horseshoe.
It's funny because I actually found one. Yeah. And just even like they say about symbols on the walls, do the symbols and stuff.
So got some very good Wiccan symbols and all sorts.
Just anything for protection.
On anything, come and talk to me, Emma. I've got quite a lot.
For myself anyway, I kind of know myself anyway from doing kind of wee ways, but I'm just figuring it out kind of as I go of what way I can do it to kind of protect going forward.
Definitely.
Yeah, because it's funny because we did find one, and I cleansed it and I want to put it back kind of over there again. So
I would probably put that to the front of your property.
Yes, yeah, that would be
like where your front door or something is, that sort of entrance. Then, like you said, look into some symbols, things that you think's really good. You could put them. You could even just make a nice little picture of it and have it up in a frame or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I would find a few things that you can put outside into the ground, which will stable underneath again. Because, like I said, your place is a vortex. That's never going to stop. You're always going to have energy coming in your home, but if you stop the negative.
The negative, this is the thing, like, because we are at peace living with all the good spirits here, and things happen, like, they don't bother us one bit. I know people are like, they come and they visit and we're sitting in the kitchen and maybe like something happens, or like, you know, they get a cold breeze come past them, or they hear a noise or something, like, we're like, that's happening all the time, but they're like so scared running out or the lights flicker or something, like they just, you know, people freak out, but we're so used to it. Because I think a lot of people think that when you have a haunting, like it's just one ghost that haunts something and then that's it, you know, but no, not with Sharon Rectory. And I don't think it'll ever be clear. I think there'll be, you know, there'll always be spirits about, or always be something around here. I just think it's just that type of property.
And I say this to everybody, like every place, every land, everything in this world has got a haunting. Okay, there are energies attached to every building, old or new. Okay, it really does depend on the history, though. Like if you've got a new building on a place that wasn't so active, you're not really gonna notice that activity. But if you're in an area where it's been very known for, you're gonna notice a lot of the houses have got spirits in it. But the truth and the fact is every place here has got a haunting. Okay, it's got something going on. It's just not everybody sees it, or they don't always let you know that because they just go on doing their own thing. Do you know what I mean? But there's history in this whole world,
of course.
And there is so much residual energy left that there can't be one spot in this world that can't be touched by a spirit. There isn't. You know what I mean? It's just some of us, luckily, are not right in the middle of a vortex where you've got all these lines going over each other and everything's going all on that, like you. For instance, you know,
see, we have ley lines that run through here, and they're, as you say, when they you know, at certain times of the year, Kate always says they will open up, and this is when spirits then are kind of come in more, and kind of you would notice maybe more things happening or more activity, or you see something more, or it's like there's certain these times where they open and then they close again, and it might be quite, you know, so it is. Actually, a few weeks ago, I can't even remember, it might have been maybe 2 weeks ago, or maybe just a little bit over, I woke up one night with an almighty bang in this room, and I wasn't on my own because my partner works away sometimes, and this particular night I was on my own, and I woke up with such a fright because I thought the mirror in my room fell because it's quite heavy, but I thought like it would take a lot of force for it to fall. Looked around, I couldn't see, the mirror was still there, and I was like, what? And I have my cameras that I use, my setup that I use for my investigation. I have it sitting in a box at the bottom of my bed, and it's been on that box for ages, since the last time I was out in an investigation, and it's never moved, and it's sitting quite stable. The whole camera and the other camera that was sitting beside it literally were all on the ground. Now for the bang that had happened, it was thrown. You know, it was like that force behind it. And I just, like, whenever I coughed onto it then, I was like, not tonight. It ain't happening. I was like, no. and I just went back to sleep again. Because it's just, it scares you at the time, but you have to kind of think, put your foot down and be like, no. And I didn't feel anything negative when I woke up. I didn't feel like anything bad around me or anything.
And the thing is like good energies and that will do that, because I have that in my home. Like they'll move things, drop things, and that. And like to me, like when they do, like if they drop certain things, that's like my way of them like trying to say like cameras on the floor and whatever. It's like they're trying to say to you, Emma, you need to investigate.
You see, this is what I talked about this with Kate, and Kate says maybe you have to take your camera out and, you know, take pictures or film something maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe something's trying to show itself.
Something like that, they drop something specific which you know's never moved. It's because they're trying to tell you something. They want you to go out and catch something.
Exactly. And as I say, like since this happened, I haven't been feeling my best, like health wise, and I haven't been great this last while, but I just feel like I just don't even have the energy to even get up and start doing that, like, because I haven't been on an investigation now for a few weeks. So, as I say, like,
exactly,
I start to feel better.
They're used to you going out, aren't they? They're used to you going out. They're used to you investigating, and sometimes some spirits can get impatient when you're not doing your investigations, even though you're unwell, when you're trying to get better. They don't see it like that. They're like,
no,
well, hang on a minute.
They're like, get out there, girl.
Why ain't you coming to my place today and talking to me? Like, just move the camera.
Yeah,
like, they don't get that.
Yeah. So, as I say, like, there's just things like that happens here. And I just think you just get so used to it. It doesn't, like, it takes a lot now for me to be scared. And there has been a few times where, like, you do get scared to a point where you feel sick. Because like when that happened, that bang happened, I woke up because I thought something big has fallen, and it just scared me. But then when I realised then what it was, and I didn't feel anything negative around it, it was fine after that. But now there is, to say, like there is from time to time where you do get parts or like moments in Sharon where it's like an overpowering like negative or something, like a bad feeling that you get here. And I do think that this, whatever is here, it like comes and goes. So whenever you get that feeling,
I do remember
it's
us
like
having
that.
a conversation a little while back, wasn't it? And we were saying something about a possible djinn or something.
Yeah, well, there's, you see, we have a lot of spirits that we know that are here that are connected with the house. And then I do believe, like, the last investigation we had here, all the stuff that happened led to a demonic haunting. There's no doubt about it. The things that happened, you would have come out of it and said, there's something demonic there. And there has been things happen since then that has made me think definitely, yep, no doubt. But then it stops, and it's like, you kind of get...
So you had...
scary because it's like it stops all of a sudden, and you're like, wait a minute.
Weird smells?
Yeah, oh yeah, we've like
Burning
eggy,
smell.
like really eggy smells too, or like we've had a lot of people actually go down to the cellar and like say they have even like a metallic taste in their mouth.
Yeah,
you
like
know,
metallic,
like
eggy, rotten.
Yeah,
rotten
and
smell,
growls.
burning smell. All of those are signs of
and growls too. We've
demonic,
got, you know, you could have been sitting kind of anywhere in the house and you would hear like a growl. And at the time, actually, there was one particular growl. Now it was myself and my mum and my sister were down in the cellar because I was filming. I've talked about this before. I was filming like from the projector in the back wall of the cellar, just like, you know, hand marks kind of and all. It was for around Halloween. And me and my sister were down there, my mum was upstairs, and it was just the three of us in the house. And it was funny because we were really on edge, because you just get that feeling in certain rooms in the house that where you just know something's there, and you kind of be on edge, but you're like, you kind of sense when it's not good. And Victoria, she had the camera, and because we had all the lights off to be able to film this, and I was filming it on my phone. And I told Victoria to turn the camera around so the light torch of the camera would be dark. So she put it against her, but she looked behind her and she saw her own shadow and screamed. So I screamed. So my mum came down and she was like, what are you screaming down here about? So I was like filming away and we were sitting so quiet. And the next thing we heard this. And I was like, Mum goes, what's that noise? And I was like, no, stop, because we're down here on our own. And if that door closes up there, we're stuck in here in the dark. And it wasn't until I come up and Mum says, look back over your phone, because I was filming the projector at the time. She goes, look back over your phone and see if you caught that noise. And when you listen to it over and you have the headphones in, you can hear the growl, but like it says words. It says like, come here, in this really deep, gruffled voice. It was saying,
and
come
demonic
here.
voice is normally.
And I was like, oh no, this is weird, because it's saying we all were down there and it was telling us to come here. And we were just freaked with that. And, you know, at times, like, it can be very scary even to walk past the cellar door.
I think I'd said to you previously as well about Twisted Souls. They're very much like demonic, but that they've got the intentions of the human side as well. They could be exactly the same. And like, but like, I'm like, obviously you heard the growl, you feel this very uncomfortable energy. So it probably is something negative, but I always tell everybody, never look at it to being demonic.
Yes, don't jump it.
It could be
don't jump it. Yeah,
a twisted soul, whatever. And there are spirits that will mess with you and growl at you just to see your reaction, because they can do that. I've seen them do it. You know,
totally. And the more places that I go and I investigate around Ireland myself now, I kind of know to watch out that myself. But Sherry, the stuff that's in the house and the stuff that is happening isn't just a twisted soul. It isn't. As I say, like nobody's an expert. No, like for me, when people say I'm an expert in this field, it's really, really hard to say you're an expert whenever there's still so much you don't know. And
nobody's an expert in the paranormal field.
No, like we're always learning, and every haunting is different. Like, and no matter how many like places that I've went to, every experience has been different for me. And like it's just whenever I come back then and kind of lay it against the experiences that I've had of where I've had it in other places and all too, you can turn around and say, well, that was something negative, but I wouldn't go as far as saying it was demonic. you know, so I kind of know myself now, the feeling
Yeah, like, I'm not saying it's not.
that I get,
like,
to what I
obviously,
felt
like,
in other places.
I don't want you to, like, summons it up and, you know, things get worse. So I'm saying to you to look at it logically. Like, obviously, you're going to know
Oh
what
yes,
it
of course,
feels like, and you've
yeah.
been there, and you know that it feels different to what.
Mm-hmm.
There is, like I've told you, I do feel that there is a twisted soul there that is very much like a demonic.
Yeah.
It doesn't
There is.
It doesn't mean that there isn't a demonic there as well, though.
Yeah,
That's
there
what I'm
is.
saying.
He's in the coachman, that guy. He's in the coachman.
Yeah.
The one that you're talking about.
I say this to anyone: don't presume that it's demonic. But I don't say it because I don't believe you. I say it because the more you think about it and the more you say it, the more you manifest them.
Yeah. Oh no, I know. And you know what?
As you know, Emma, you know the paranormal. You're spiritually open.
You just have to just think about them, and they're like, oh, there we go. She's thinking about me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, literally.
But no, I definitely, as I'm saying, like things have been fine for a while now. We've just a few bits and pieces, but they've not been to the extent they were a while back, you know. But there has been things that's happened.
Calming down a little bit.
Yeah, I just think that investigations caused quite a bit of activity.
The thing is, it does, because if you think, like, if you've got people that are coming into your house that don't really know your house, don't really understand what's going on, and the way that some of these people come in with their attitudes and the way that they act, and that, you know, this can really disrupt an environment, you know what I mean? And a lot of the investigators that go in and do this are only there for one reason. They just want to get the evidence. They want to be the best. And now a real investigator would be somebody that wants to help those spirits and wants to help that family. It doesn't matter about the footage or anything else. It's the fact, getting to the point of why these energies are doing what they're doing. That's what real investigators should be doing. Okay.
Yeah, well, I think
you're very much like that. And that's what I like about you, is that you are trying to understand what's going on.
At the time, like, we were so naive, you know, we opened up the house and we didn't really know anything about investigations, and, you know, basically we just wanted to know what was going on in the house. And with every team, they all had, like, were able to kind of piece together that kind of, you know, what was going on, that puzzle. And we've had teams that came back and investigated a few times, and then we've had other teams then that came back, and, you know yourself, we've had teams come in and nothing's happened, and then we've had teams that come in and it's like all hell breaks loose. So, like, every investigation is different, but we were always getting them wee pieces of, you know, evidence to gather and to kind of see exactly what it was. But, like, you know, it's not as easy as just, you know, when a team comes in, light sage and walk around the house with a sage. This isn't that type of haunting. You know, my mum was steady burning sage and frankincense, and, you know, the house is still active.
I'd said to you previously that your haunting is one of these places that it isn't really something that you can help. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's always going to be there, but there are ways to settle it. Like, and you're doing that, like, by trying to understand what these negative energies are and what they're doing, and to, like, try and find a boundary so you're not pissing them off or upsetting them, and then keeping your love and your goodness with the good spirits, you know. And yes, it's okay to have people go in there and investigate, but have people in there that have the intentions of it, wanting to help these spirits and help you. Like, I would not come in your house and go, Emma, I can get rid of every spirit that's in your house, because I damn well know that you can't, because
I know that
house has got so much history. There are just some places you cannot help, but you can learn to live with it by doing certain things.
Yeah, you're 100%. And that's basically what we've accepted now.
Yeah.
If you told me about 2 years ago, after this whole thing where the investigations and on, we were at the most active ever, and you said to me, I'm going to come in and clear the house and all, like, I still wouldn't have believed you. And we've accepted that now, that, like, because it's just, like, I was trying to see light at the end of the tunnel, because I thought, is there some way that we can try and just have a normal house and it have, you know, the spirits, you know, not bother us? But I don't think that'll ever happen.
No,
and, like, we've had people,
your house is a vortex.
Yeah, we've had people come in and came in with sage, or came in like mediums, and they done stuff and all, and they says, oh, we're the house is clear now, and they went away and said the house is clear, and then we're sitting in going, wait a minute, it's not clear, because I'm still dealing with this, I'm still seeing this.
And that's what I'm saying. And, like, I've sat there with you several times, and I've had it, and I've sat there and I've been able to hear them speak, and you've heard me, like, and I've heard them going, you'll never cleanse this house, nobody will ever cleanse this house. And it isn't the fact that all of the spirits there are malicious. There is just so much history and so much of different eras in it.
Yeah.
And different bad things that have happened and good things. There's just so much in this house that you just can't remove the energy.
You can't.
But like I said, you can learn to have your boundaries with each other and respect each other's.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's respect. And like we all, the good spirits in the house now, know that our intentions are to be here and live with them and not try and chase them out of their house. Like, at the end of the day, if they're happy there, we're going to leave them. If they want to move on, we'll help them. You know, it's
and I'm that's why I like you, because you're like me. I'm not one of these that go in there and seek every spirit to get rid of them. I go in there to try and find out what's wrong with them. If they're okay, if they want help, I'll help them. If they don't want to go, I'm not going to make them, because
you're not going to make them go.
That is their home.
Yeah, because at the end of the day,
there's nobody in this world that can make somebody do something when they don't want it.
Yeah, it's free will. You know, spirits have free will. Like, and if they choose to remain,
still people, sweetheart. At the end of the day, there's still people that just a spirit. If they don't want to go, they're not going to go.
Exactly.
It don't matter how many mediums or clairvoyants you get in there with sage, it's not going to budge.
No, because as we know, kind of through kind of different, you know, studies and different kind of examples and stuff, that they reckon that there's no time. You know, there's no time. Like, the time isn't different. It's different in the spirit world than it is here. Like, for the murders that took place in the house over 200 years ago, to them it might only been 2 hours ago. Do you know, it's just
they have no sense of time or anything. There is no time or anything. It's like everything just happens, and it doesn't feel like hundreds of years have gone by. It just feels like in the moment sort of thing. It's so different over there.
Yeah, so like we do believe the man that was murdered, Reverend the man that was murdered in the house, Reverend Hamilton. We do believe that, you know, his soul remains there, obviously because of what happened, and that's where he died. But from what we've experienced through investigations, and my mum too, like, she kind of would have channeled spirits, and she did pick up that Reverend Hamilton just didn't want to pass over. He didn't want to move on because of what he did in life. Yeah. And he wasn't technically supposed to be a nice man. You know, there was a lot, I think, that he done in life that led him to where his demise. You know, it led him to his
demise. Not been able to go over.
Yes, and I just think that he's scared of
judgment, and that's what a lot of these negative energies, they don't cross because they're scared of judgment and what's going to happen to them when they do. You know, and these sort of spirits normally that are haunting these places become residual hauntings. They replay those actments every single time, the things that they've done, how they died. It's like a residual haunting. It'll constantly do what's happened to him. You know what I mean? And
they constantly relive it.
You know, like, if I was coming to your house, I wouldn't be coming there to say, Emma, I'm cleansing your house and removing all your spirits. I'd be coming there to go, look, I'll help you to get to the bottom of what's going on with them. Yeah. And we can put some things in boundaries. I can give you things that you can burn and that to help them keep calm and, you know, keep things. But I would never come in there and go, right, I can remove all your negative or your demonic. Because, my God, nobody can do that.
Nobody can do that, no.
Like, I'm not saying you can't remove negative and demonic spirit. You can in specific ways, but in this house, it goes so deep.
It's not an ordinary haunting, and I don't know. It's funny because I don't know if my mum and dad actually would have bought the house if they knew, like, if they were able to look in the future in 20 years and see
But they do say that these sort of houses have a tendency to grab the people that it really wants.
Yeah, and like
say that house see your mum and dad coming before they even see it coming. You know
like, we've had so many people actually say to us that the house actually chose your mum and dad. You didn't.
That's what I'm saying.
You didn't choose the house. Yeah. And like, and I do think that, you know, my mum is a very, very spiritually strong person. Like, and she is like a superhero when it comes to this. Like, because she stays completely alone in the house, and she's had, especially with all the stuff we've dealt with, she will still turn around and go, I'm not going to be that scared where I'm going to go and move away or go and live in, stay in a hotel for the night if I'm that scared. She will stay there. Even if there was stuff flying everywhere, she would still stay there. That's just the way she is.
That's good, because it shows that you've got that control. Because the one thing that a lot of spirits are looking for, they're looking for a way to break you down. If you can be strong and keep there, you know, you'll find that the activity will start to lessen a little bit. They're not going to go course they're not, but it will lessen. And maybe that is why it's lessening, because you're showing, it doesn't matter what you do, we're not budging. We've been here all these years, and they're thinking, well, you know what, we're not going to get rid of them, and they're not going to get rid of us. We just need to start being amicable with each other.
Yeah, your shift can show that bit of strength kind of back. And
you have to, because they'll take you over.
Oh, completely. And like, I've been there, Sherry. I've basically, I was so vulnerable there a few years ago whenever I was living there. Well, I'm not saying a few years ago, but 10 plus years ago, whenever I was in the coachman's residence, and I just become very, very depressed and unwell and oppressed. You know, like it was something I didn't understand at the time that was affecting me. And it was only whenever I was out of that situation and looking back now, I was like, that wasn't me. That really wasn't me. Why I felt that way, the thoughts I felt, or the thoughts that I was thinking, and just the general, it wasn't me at all. And I can honestly say that if you just are vulnerable in any kind of way, that's whenever it hones in and starts to affect you and kind of.
Well, they do. It is known that the negative energies will try to attach you when you're at your most weakest.
And it's like you let your guard down for a moment, but that's whenever they latch on.
Just even a second, and you know, it takes a second.
So
and
it was
I've
only
been
whenever.
There as well, Emma. I've been there as well. I've had a negative attachment due to trying to help someone, and it does make you very sick. And I actually ended up getting blood poisoning and being put in hospital. I nearly died.
Wow.
That's how bad it got. I got a whole collar of my skin was ripped from my neck, where upside down crosses come on my neck. I've got scarring on my neck from where it literally, there was clumps of skin.
Oh my God.
Flesh coming off of my neck where I've been burnt so badly, but nothing had burned me. I was on a video call with someone and they see this coming up. They're like, Sherry, what's that appearing on your neck? I said, what? They go, there's like an upside down cross. And then it just turned in, it looked like a vicar's collar, but it was just red. It was constantly bleeding. And in the end, I was in a chemist and I went all dizzy and I nearly fainted and I didn't know why. And when I went to the doctors, it was all infected. And they said I was that close to getting the sepsis, it nearly killed me. That is through a demonic attack. And when people say to you, oh, they're not dangerous, people just say that. Demonic spirits are very dangerous and they're very real. Even when you're not doing anything wrong and you're doing everything the right way, they can still get you.
Yeah. Sure, funny when you say that too with the cross ranging. I had the Saint Benedict medal around my neck the time that we were going through a really, really hard time in the house, and I was getting burned. I was leaving it was leaving a burn mark on me too, and I removed it off my neck.
No, you have had an allergic reaction.
Yeah, because they say, I was wearing it for about 2 or 3 weeks beforehand before it reacted.
On the neck, the cream would not work. Nothing would work. I said, it's not an allergic reaction. There's no cream or nothing working. The only thing that started to make it work, I started putting holy water on my neck and it started to heal it. And then after it got to a certain level, then I did start to use cream because I had no longer had that attachment there because I was using the holy water, so it healed the rest up with the cream. But at first, when I was putting that cream on, it was making it worse. So I started using holy water on my neck, my salt water that I made, my holy water that I make, my witch one, and it started to heal it. You know what I mean? But, the effects that these spirits can have on you is just unbelievable. And I always say to anybody that's got this going on in their homes or thinking to going into this sort of career and whatever, always be very vigilant and very wary, okay? Because they will catch you off guard. They'll know you're coming before you know they are. Just put it that way. They know even before you get in a car to go to them, they know you're coming. And
I'd say that's the reason why we've actually had people actually come to Sharon and say, oh, we're going to come and get rid of her help or whatever. And on the run up to it, we'll have activity. And then as soon as they land, then it's like they don't feel whatever's there. It's like they go hide. They know exactly your next step, where you're, what you're planning.
And they do.
They know everything.
They do. That's why they can do these, give you these dreams about other places and stuff. They know, that's why they do it. And they're very clever at it. And don't ever feel 100% safe on any sort of spirit, because any spirit can change. Just always be very vigilant.
I've always said that to my mum and Victoria especially, because Victoria would have said about a girl, Sorsha, in the house, and she would have, from no age, she would have always been talking about this little girl and all. It was only really until, maybe a few years ago I says to mum about this girl, this spirit girl, and I was like, something doesn't sit right with me about this spirit. I was like, I wouldn't be too sure to kind of open yourself up to it, or to kind of, if you see her, to communicate, because I don't know now. I do believe there's a spirit of Saoirse there, because, when Victoria talked about it, we didn't feel anything bad or anything negative around it. Like,
yeah.
But
And 9 times out of 10, these little children's spirits are children, but there are some very negative energies that will portray themselves as a child.
But there is something.
Children or young people are the easiest way for a spirit to get into somewhere. They do use children to do that. You know what I mean? If they show us a little girl and go, "Can I be your friend?" that child's not going to say no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because it is funny. Well, it's not, I keep saying it's funny, but it's not. But like, there is something here that mimics mimics us and it mimics spirits, because there's been a couple of times now where myself or my mum or somebody else had said about seeing me or seeing somebody outside, and it wasn't me at all. A couple of weeks ago, my mum says, maybe about 7 in the evening, she says she's seen me come out of one of the outhouses. When she looked out the kitchen window, she's seen me come out one of the outhouses. And funny, I think it was around
something that they're like the spirits that apparently will show, like, as you or somebody else, or but there's meant to be stories behind them.
It was funny because
you see the double as well. If you see a double of yourself, it's meant to be a sign of something bad that's going to happen.
Yeah, she says that she's seen me coming out. I think it was where I had the dream. She's seen me come out of that outhouse, that part of it, and it wasn't me. And she says it looked like you had the dark hair, and
they're called doppelgangers or doubles or something. They're
doppelgangers.
Double hangers, yeah. But they're this energy that well, a lot of the story behind them is if you see your double, like these spirits do your double, it's meant to be a sign of death and other things like that.
Yeah, I think it's negative. If you see your own, isn't it? That's whenever it's not
your own self.
Thank God it wasn't me that seen it.
If somebody else sees you, it's different. It means it's a warning or whatever. But if you see yourself, it's 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 that.
And there was another instance then where my sister, this was a few years ago, she was down in the bottom bathroom downstairs, and she's she's just funny, like she just leaves the bathroom door open, like in the hall, and I would be walking past the hall, I just typed the chills, like. But she says that she was on the toilet and she seen mum walk past the hall, like the bathroom door in the hallway, and she must have said something to her, but she never answered. And whenever Victoria had went out and says to mum, "Would you not hear me talking to you there?" or whatever, mum says, "What are you on about? I was upstairs." She says, "Well, you walked past the hall there a few minutes ago." And mum says, "No, it wasn't me." She says, "Well, it was the same clothes and everything you were wearing." So that's happened a few times now in the house where somebody's seen somebody else.
It could be either that spirit, or it could be you've got these other ones. You've got like the Joker spirits, the ones that do the pranksters and stuff. Like, they sometimes are known to try to show as other people in that house as well. So it could be a number of things, but it's these sort of energies you've got to be very cautious of, though.
Yeah, it's never ending here, like, because there's just whenever, and sometimes too, you can actually, you can be sitting talking, like me talking to you, and you're, oh my God, I remembered about that, but then it'll kind of link up to something else that we've experienced. So that's when you're trying to kind of like piece, the puzzle together and join the dots. Yeah, so as I say, like, I don't think nothing is a coincidence. I do think that all these things that we've experienced and things that happened and all, there is messages there, and there's wee signs and there's warnings and there's different
my
things.
My motto is everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay. Even in the spirit form, it doesn't matter if it's negative or it's good. These things happen for a reason. They are lessons. They are signs. They are all sorts of things. Like when I had what was done to me, everyone was like, "Oh, I would have thought you'd have walked away," and stuff. I said, no, if anything, it made me want to understand those energies more, because why do they act like that?
Well, that's exactly the same as me.
Demonic spirits were once of, like, the divine, okay? They're meant to be of the divine, so they are capable of feeling emotion and love, and that's how I look at it. So I don't look at them and like, well, yeah, it scalded me for the rest of my life, and I'm going to find sacrifice and I'm going to summon you and do this and do that to you and whatever. I'm not that sort of person. And, like, even though he'd done that to me, I don't want to do anything malicious to him. All it's made me want to do is understand their behaviours even more so.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's the same as me though.
Energies.
A lot of people would like look at me now, or if I talk to them and say, oh, you know, I'm a paranormal researcher now, or I go on investigations and all, they're like, why would you want to do that when you already live in a haunted house? And I'm like, it's because I want to understand what I experienced most of my life. I want to kind of understand a bit more about it, learn about it, see what other areas or other locations have and what way their haunting is. So you, and like you said,
you don't really want to be doing the investigations in your home where you've got you're going to go out.
Yes, I want to kind of basically explore other areas, and like you know, we go to places obviously that you know, we're allowed teams in and stuff like, and then locations then that are abandoned and all like, and just to see what and feel what we can feel around them, you know, and it's there's some beautiful places that we've been like, and
my mouth drops at some of your pictures. I'm like, oh my God, look at that place.
Yeah, there's some places that like the last couple of places we were at now was beautiful. We were in Kilkenny, down
that was the last one that I was looking at a couple of days ago with the beautiful
in Kilkenny Castle.
That is so stunning.
We were staying in the hotel close to the castle, and on the Sunday we done the tour in the castle, and as soon as I walked into the castle, there was a woman following me around. Straight away, she was following me around. And as soon as I got to the third level, she kind of drifted back. And then there was a really kind of dominant presence then, a male's presence that was there. And I didn't really know there was haunting stories or anything with Kilkenny Castle. Obviously, there would have definitely been energies there, no doubt about it. But I didn't know if many people reported it. And it was only whenever I done a wee bit of research then after I discovered it was the haunting of I think it was like a white lady or a grey lady, that she was supposed to have been roaming the castle corridors and the grounds. And that was the woman I straight away, whenever I picked her up, just when I went in the door, she just seemed very lost. And then we went to Ducks Grove, that was in Carlow, beautiful, big, abandoned, Gothic mansion. Amazing, so it is. The whole way around that too, you know, you just didn't feel alone, you know, you felt something there, but I didn't feel anything bad, you know, it was nice, like, it was a beautiful day, and it just was fantastic.
And it's nice when you have them sort of investigations where you don't worry about something negative coming up behind you. It's just, because, like, believe it or not, we don't go out seeking negative energies, guys. We go out seeking just evidence, but
and you have to kind of face the bad along with the good. You know, everywhere you know, there's good and evil. Like
me going, I'm going to investigate, but I'm only doing it for good spirits. I said, look, darling, if you're in the investigations, what you've got to realise is you're not just going to get the spirit. You're going to have to deal with both.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
But as I say, like, it's educating and educating him and protecting himself, and when to kind of back off a bit or kind of be respectful, so you're not kind of going in kind of aggravating or going in making things worse, you know, because that's one thing with my approach when I investigate is respect is a big thing. You know, you have to respect the spirits as well as the living. You know, you have to go in and
I do.
Be polite.
And I'm like you, Emma. I'm very much like you. And like when I had my company and stuff, I'd done a very massive big like folder that was full of information to help people when they go out investigating how to be safe. Even to the point that there was hundreds of prayers I'd put in there.
Yeah.
All sorts of things. Everything you could think of you need as an investigator, I'd put. Because I've had all these experiences, but you do have to have acknowledgement and understanding to work with these energies, guys. Don't just go in there blind and start doing things without understanding, because you could be
you have to be so careful, like, and as I say, like, I even have to be careful myself of going into a haunted location, coming back and then having to still deal with it, because it can affect your health. Because I'm currently not been feeling great now these last few weeks myself, and I do think it's kind of took its toll. But I've kind of stopped the investigations myself.
Yeah, I haven't investigated.
I had to take a step back a bit to kind of work on myself.
It's not good to anybody when you're feeling really, really unwell and that. Don't go out and investigate, because that is the best time for a negative energy to attach to you.
For attachments.
When you're ill, don't do anything spiritual. Don't do your card readings. Don't do it, because even doing a simple thing as doing a card reading, you're opening a doorway for them to come to you. So do not do anything. You have to be physically well and mentally well, spiritually well to be able to work with the spirit world, like our spirit realm. You definitely do. And as I say, like, a lot of people would ask me, you know, if you're really sick, how does it affect you when you're living in the house? It does drain me.
you know, that I still get drained, and I still feel like that when I'm in the house I could be a wee bit worse. But you know, I live here. There's nothing really much more I can do. You know, I can't really kind of get up and move out until I feel better. You know, it's just not an option. So you just have to try and learn, like, we kind of just coping mechanisms, just constantly good vibes, put good vibes out there, kind of get up in the morning and be like, you know, I'm going to feel good today. I'm going to put that out there. And you do start to kind of pick up a bit, you know, but it is times I will admit, I get up and I feel like, oh my God, I feel so crap. I just don't feel well. And then I would be really, really bad the whole day then, because I put that out there as soon as I got up. So it is difficult, like, from time to time. But
and it is hard for people like us that are spiritually open as well, like, to be like that. And I'm the same way, like, you know, there's just times when you're unwell and you don't want to be troubled by them, so you do have to have things in place. You've got to have a barrier where you shut off. And
because even like I doing really well writing the second book too. I was, you know, really felt like I was focusing in and I was on a roll. And just about a week ago then, I just started to kind of feel really, really sick and starting to get, you know, and then I kind of stopped it. But I feel like I needed to pull away from that too, because even sitting down writing about it, it can affect you when you're unwell. So it's very, you know, you just need to take a step back.
If you think about when you're sitting there and you've got that book and you're writing all of those words and that, you're thinking that out loud when you're reading it. So all of that energy and all of that history you're writing about is something that's happened, and it is happening still in your home.
It's still happening.
So it's still going to affect you because you're acknowledging it. You know
exactly.
I mean?
And it's like, that's whenever you are sick, it's insane. You have to take a complete step back. It's a step back of everything.
Even I have the on off. Do you remember the thing that me and my pups told you about, the on off? What, two clicks for off and one click for on, and it puts a glass barrier over you and stops. That's what I do when I just say, I don't want to be disturbed tonight. I'm not feeling well. Mirrors on. And I just do
exactly. To reflect it away.
It doesn't make them go away. It just stops them from being able to get to you.
Affecting you. Exactly.
It gives you a break.
Exactly.
Because you do need a break.
Oh, definitely. It's just ongoing, but sure, what can we do?
We have reached over it. We have actually gone over an hour, guys, and I have really, really enjoyed having Emma on. So anybody that hasn't followed Emma, it's Soul to Soul Paranormal. You can get her on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You've got her amazing book that is on Amazon as well. All of the links to Emma's social sites and to getting her book is in the description below, guys. So please make sure you go and check her out, because she's an awesome lady. She's got an absolutely amazing house, and she's got an amazing team. Okay, so just like check her out in every single way. And I do hope that you will come back on with me one day, Emma, like when you're feeling a little bit better.
I will, surely, anytime. I will. We'll get that organised again in the future, and I can come on and give you more updates.
We're going to ask questions and stuff tonight, but do you know what? I actually liked this. It went with the flow. It was really nice just to be able to openly talk and you know, this is what shows need. That you just need to hear people's stories and point of views, guys. So we hope that you did enjoy it. Big shout out to all of our sponsors, our TV people, to all of those that give us this opportunity to get our work and who we are out there. We do appreciate you. So big shout out to Bold and Bonkers, DNTV, and all of these networks. And obviously a massive shout out to all of our family in the room that have supported us tonight. And obviously to Emma, the amazing lady that's come and joined me on the show today. And
thank you for having me.
And we send you lots of love, light, and blessings. And we hope that you have a lovely evening and a merry parting from us both.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everything. Speak to you soon.
See you later.
All right.